Hey guys. So I came across this really fascinating article here that was published about a couple of months ago, by Christine Emba in the Washington Post of all places, entitled "Men Are Lost. Here's a Map Out of the Wilderness." And I found it a fascinating article, a nice long article that was really rather sympathetic to the plight of men, and I think a genuinely good faith effort on the part of someone who is an avowed feminist and on the left to address men's issues. I found it an engaging read, and I commend it to you, and I commend her for writing it. In addition, Chris Williamson, in his Modern Wisdom podcast, episode number 664, interviews Christine Emba about her article, and they have a really great discussion. I found it very much worth my while to read both the article and to listen to the podcast. Links to both of them are in the notes below here. I think you might find it worth your while to listen to them as well, and to read the article. One of the things that I found most engaging about the article was the recognition that Ms. Emba has that there are certain aspects of masculinity that are in fact kind of natural to men, and cannot simply be wished away or scoured away by social programming or social engineering or shaming, either from the right or the left or from any other source. And she comes by and much to the conclusion toward the end of her article. She says it in a number of ways, but largely that her point, and I think her good contribution to the discussion, is to recognize that there are things that men like, that there are aspects of masculinity that are inherent to men, and rather than trying to shame them, belittle them, or get rid of them, we should find ways to use them and point them outward in socially acceptable, culturally constructive ways. That is, help men to find ways in which they can use their innate masculine talents and traits in ways that benefit others. Now, I especially like this because I was saying exactly the same thing about the same time this article came out, in the interview that I did with Bedros Keuilian.
But you can do that with God. Just don't turn your back on him and walk away from the relationship. Don't turn your back on your own life. Don't turn your back on your own masculinity, which is a gift to you that you need to turn around and give to the rest of the world. That's the source of what it is that we as men have to offer.
Who is that gift from?
That's from God.
From God.
That's inherent in us.
That's what I wanted to hear you say.
Yeah.
Masculinity is a gift to you from God,
yes,
that you must turn around and give back to humanity.
That's right.
And this is sort of the same thing that Ms. Emba concludes in her article as well. And I just find it a very, very hopeful thing that when a young, black, feminist, progressive, editorialist on the Washington Post and an old, white, conservative Christian clergyman can actually agree on something and come to the same conclusion, there's some real grounds for hope there. And so once again, I commend Ms. Emba for a fine article. I commend Mr. Williamson for a fine podcast interview with her about it. And two thumbs up for that. And I encourage you, if you have time, check them out. I think you'll be glad you did.